Hi, sorry for the interruption. I got to speak to a gentleman just on a walk who lives nearby, and he gave me some fascinating insights, and we ended up having a 2-hour conversation from when the previous filming ended till now. Going back to Paul speaking to the elders of Ephesus, and he says to them, as this is the last time I'm seeing you, I want to make one thing clear, that I fulfilled my duty to you. I've shared the gospel with you. I have not held back anything. I've been truthful, I've been authentic, I've been honest. And therefore I am not guilty of, he says it quite strongly, guilty of the blood of anybody from Ephesus. He then, in Luke's account, in the account of Acts, the writer of Acts, he speaks of the collection, and he's been collecting money for the poor in Jerusalem. And he makes the point that he hasn't drawn a stipend off of the charity that has been gathered for those in Jerusalem, that he in fact has earned his own living. He has worked to earn a salary, to feed himself, to clothe himself, to pay for accommodation, so that every single cent, penny, denarius that was donated for those in Jerusalem goes to them. And today many charities would have admin costs and salaries, people they would be paying for, and that would come out of the money that they raise from donations. And so Paul's giving this hint that actually all the money that he's gathered has been for the cause, the purpose for which he had gathered it, the poor in Jerusalem. And so at this turning point, Paul is heading off to Jerusalem to deliver the charity. And in doing so, he feels he has fully concluded his mission. He has fulfilled his commitment to James and Peter and all the other apostles in Jerusalem. And that sets him free to go to Rome and to start sharing the gospel there. Of course, the question mark is, did Paul make a mistake? Should he have just sent out somebody else to deliver it on his behalf? Should he have maybe had Barnabas and Mark, maybe even Peter, deliver it for him, instead of making the decision that he himself would take it to Jerusalem? So what questions does chapter 20 of Acts raise for us? How are you doing in your race of life? Do we have a purpose, a goal for which we live, which is beyond just eating and sleeping? Do we have a purpose, a raison d'etre? Something that we say, I live for this. I live to achieve this. Everything else I do is in support of that life's mission. But this is what I'm really about. This is the reason I breathe. This is the reason I get up in the morning. This is the reason I am. And do we live our lives to fulfill that? Or do we just go through every day, living it as it comes along? Is our purpose self-gratification? Paul was entrusted with a lot of money. Would we have just used it for ourselves? Would we have used it for our own benefit? Or would we have covered our own expenses? Obviously this poses huge challenges to me as a minister who receives a stipend. And I think as the church goes forward in countries with ever decreasing memberships of the church, we as ministers will have to look at other ways of gaining an income. And I think that would be a very good test. How many ministers would be prepared to go into dual employment in order to see the mission that they believe God has called them to fulfilled, and how many would walk away and just get a regular job? So, do you have a life's mission? It's the first question. And how are you doing on that mission? Are you achieving it? Are you getting somewhere with it? I just spent 2 hours with a gentleman who's dedicated to this place where I am this morning. He spent days, weeks, months digging out that cave over there. He raised £120,000 for the repair of the pier. He spends his weekends fixing stuff, making sure that everything's as it is. The other day in the rain, there was a landslide, and that came down. He estimates 100 tons of soil. And he spent the weekend since clearing the path. What amazes me about this man is that he loves this place. He is so devoted to this place. He understands its history. He understands who's lived here. And he pours his life into it. I guess like Paul, who pours his life into the sharing of the gospel to people who are of Gentile descent. Do you have a grasp of why you are here? Your purpose? Your reason for being? What is your mission in life? What are your goals? What are you trying to achieve? And then more importantly, maybe, how does God factor into that? Is God an add-on, or is God central to all of it? Beautiful day. I'm going to stop filming now and go for a walk and then upload this. I pray that God will bless you today. That God will give you peace, that God will give you joy, that God will give you hope, that God will remind you that you're alive for a purpose, and that you will use every day you're given, all the energy you have, your skills, your talents, your energy, your resources, for the bringing of the kingdom of heaven to earth. May God bless you. Amen.